In 1819, an English writer named John Polidori published The Vampire, and later, in 1897, Bram Stoker wrote the influential novel Dracula. These works laid the foundation for the modern vampire myth, which made them the most significant vampire stories of the early 19th century. For centuries, tales of undead creatures consuming the blood or flesh of the living have been discovered in almost every culture worldwide. This makes you wonder, are vampires real? What was the first well-documented case of vampire? Let's delve into the history of vampires to find out more. The first, most sensational, and well-documented case of vampire hysteria was described in the report of an Austrian official. Peter Blagojevic, a Serbian peasant, lived in a village named Kisilova. Died in 1725 at the age of 62. Within 8 days, 9 people perished. Blagojevic's wife stated that he had visited her and asked her for his open sea shoes. She then moved to another village for safety reasons. In other legends, it is said that Blagojevic came back to his house demanding food from his son, and when the son refused, Blagojevic brutally murdered him, probably via biting and drinking his blood. The villagers decided to disinter the body and examine it for signs of vampirism, such as growing hair, beard and nails, and the absence of decomposition. The inhabitants of Kisilova demanded that Cameral Provisor from Bold, along with the local priest, should be present at the procedure as a representative of the administration. Frombold tried to convince them that permission from the Austrian authorities in Belgrade should be sought first. The locals declined because they feared that by the time the permission came, the whole community could be exterminated by the vampire. They demanded that Frombold himself should immediately permit the procedure, or else they would abandon the village to save their lives. Frombold was forced to consent. Together with the Velikogradite priest, he viewed the already exhumed body and was astonished to find that the characteristics associated with vampires in local belief were indeed present. The body was undecomposed, the hair and beard were grown, there were new skin and nails while the old ones had peeled away, and blood could be seen in the mouth. After that, the people, who grew more outraged than distressed, proceeded to stake the body through the heart, which caused a great amount of completely fresh blood to flow through the ears and mouth of the corpse. Finally, the body was burned. Frombold concludes his report on the case with the request that, in case these actions were found to be wrong, he should not be blamed for them, as the villagers were beside themselves with fear. The authorities apparently did not consider it necessary to take any measures regarding the incident. It was published by newspaper, and the another case is Arnold Paole, a Serbian infantryman, died in 1726, who was believed to have become a vampire after his death, and killed at least 16 people in his native village of Meduegna. And their reports of the case was distributed in Western Europe. Some controversy only ceased when Empress Maria Theresa of Austria sent her personal physician, Gerhard van Swieten, to investigate the claims of vampiric entities. He concluded that vampires did not exist, and the Empress passed laws prohibiting the opening of graves and desecration of bodies, signaling the end of the vampire epidemics. How was society during that time? Despite the Enlightenment, an intellectual and philosophical movement that shaped Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries with its focus on reason, science, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority, there was a paradoxical surge in vampire hysteria during this period. Although significant advancements occurred in various fields, the era also saw an unusual wave of fear and belief in vampires. What is the reason why do people believe in vampires? What does science say about it? In this video we will know about it. The term vampire is the earliest recorded in English, Latin and French, and they refer to vampirism in Russia, Poland and North Macedonia. The English term was derived from the German vampir, in turn derived in the early 18th century from the Serbian. The Persians were one of the first civilizations thought to have tales of such monsters. In ancient Greece, Empusia and Lamia, these two terms became general words to describe witches and demons respectively. In ancient India, tales of Vetalas are described as the undead creatures. In Jewish traditions, the word Aluka is synonymous with vampirism. One of the most well-known stories of Nobel Prize-winning Israeli writer Shmuel Yosef Agnon is The Lady and the Peddler. The question is, why do people believe in vampires? The first reason is decomposition. People sometimes suspected vampirism when a cadaver did not look as they thought a normal corpse should when disinterred. Rates of decomposition vary depending on temperature and soil composition. Corpses swell as gases from decomposition accumulate in the torso, and the increased pressure forces blood to ooze from the nose and mouth. This causes the body to look plump, well-fed, and ruddy, changes that are all the more striking if the person was pale or thin in life. The exuding blood gave the impression that the corpse had recently been engaging in vampiric activity. Darkening of the skin is also caused by decomposition. The staking of a swollen, decomposing body could cause the body to bleed and force the accumulated gases to escape the body. This could produce a groan-like sound when the gases moved past the vocal cords, or a sound reminiscent of flatulence when they passed through the anus. After death, the skin and gums lose fluids and contract, exposing the roots of the hair, nails, and teeth, even teeth that were concealed in the jaw. This can produce the illusion that the hair, nails, and teeth have grown. At a certain stage, the nails fall off and the skin peels away. The second reason is premature burial, known as burial live, because of shortcomings in the medical knowledge of the time. In some cases in which people reported sounds emanating from a specific coffin, it was later dug up and fingernail marks were discovered on the inside from the victim trying to escape. In other cases, the person would hit their heads, noses or faces, and it would appear that they had been feeding, because of shortcomings in the medical knowledge of the time. In some cases in which people reported sounds emanating from a specific coffin, it was later dug up and fingernail marks were discovered on the inside from the victim trying to escape. In other cases, the person would hit their heads, noses or faces, and it would appear that they had been feeding. Third reason is disease. Clusters of deaths from unidentifiable or mysterious illnesses, usually within the same family or the same small community. A specific disease, tuberculosis, was associated with outbreaks of vampirism. As with the pneumonic form of bubonic plague, it was associated with breakdown of lung tissue which would cause blood to appear at the lips. In 1985, biochemist David Dolphin proposed a link between the rare blood disorder porphyria, the porphyria sufferers crave the pain in human blood, or that the consumption of blood might ease the symptoms of porphyria. Fourth reason is psychodynamic theories. Desiring a reunion with loved ones, Mourners may project the idea that the recently dead must in return yearn the same. Thank you.